Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm your host, Owen Smith with What's the Word? Today, I'm joined by Jillian Morrow. Thank you, Jillian, for taking the time out of your day to join me for this interview.
Of course.
So, tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I graduated Embry-Riddle in 2022, spring, and I was a forensic psychology major, a sister of the Delta Phi Epsilon sorority, a lot of community service, a lot of hours in that library. I am now working as a registered behavioral technician, so I'm working with children with autism.
That is awesome. That's super happy to hear. With what was your favorite memory here at Embry-Riddle?
Oof, there's a lot. I really enjoy doing philanthropy weeks with my sorority where we would sometimes do pictures in a Barbie box when we were showing awareness for anorexia nervosa and associated disorders. There was pieing a pie cap. I don't know if they still have that, but that was really fun being able to pie the brothers of Pi Cap and the end, like during finals week when the SGA would put on all these events for us and they had like therapy dogs in the library and even just painting rocks in the library was just super relaxing during that time. Throwing plates and the with everything that was making us stressed out, that was also pretty fun.
Yeah, they still do that. I've participated in a ton of those different events, and they're all quite fun.
I think
Um,
they started that my senior year. And ooh, did I have a bunch to write on that plate?
Hey, to all those yeah listening, make sure to go do those. They're quite fun.
Oh, they are very stress reducing.
So, what does a typical day in the life look like? Your day to day?
Okay, so at least for myself, I am kind of a workaholic, I'm not gonna lie. I work two jobs right now. I am my full-time position is as a behavioral technician, and I typically work 46 hours a week with a few different clients. And on the side, I do tutoring with special needs kiddos that need that extra support outside of school. I go to work at 8 a.m. and sometimes I get out at 6 or I get out earlier at 4. And I get to help shape the lives of these young kids and I get to see their progress every day. And that's just, it's why I love what I'm doing.
Yes, it truly sounds like an awesome job, and thank you so much for what you do. That's just amazing.
Thank you.
So, how do you tie writing into that?
So, after every session, I do session notes to submit to insurance. So I have to do very particular objective writing after each session with a kiddo, just explaining increases or decreases in behavior or progress in programs that we are running throughout session, and it helps insurances understand what we are working on and why this kid still, this kid or this client still needs us behavioral services. So that could look like a client displayed increase in this program, needing less prompting, and we did this program in a natural or discrete child training type of area.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's with insurance being insurance, I'd imagine it's quite difficult writing with that. Is that
Yes. Yeah, it also depends on the insurance too, because some insurances are more strict than others when it comes down to the verbiage and what they will allow us to do during session versus other insurances that, oh, you can just write anything objective that the kid did throughout session. Because some insurances are against anything involving group activity or potty training or brushing teeth. You know, it's kind of insane that some insurances are like, "Yep, you can't add that." But there's sometimes there's workarounds with it in the field, but very delicate writing processes sometimes.
Yeah. With your writing, while you were here at Embry-Riddle, do you have any similarities or differences of note that you'd be able to talk about?
So I guess my hugest experience I had with objective writing was definitely during my forensic psychology capstone. A huge learning experience because I had to do a pull a bunch of different articles to back my theory. It took a lot of work. It took like 2 months worth of just pulling sources and which sources backed my hypothesis and which ones didn't. And it definitely helps me now just being able to blatantly state, hey, this is what happened without any like my opinion.
Like super objective. There was a lot of super or it like kind of crossed over really well
Yeah.
with that capstone.
Yes.
That's good. That's good to hear actually. And at Embry-Riddle, when you were graduating and moving on to going full-time working, what do you wish, I suppose, you would have known before leaving and transitioning over to there?
Honestly, I had a few different plans when I was graduating, and I had applied to a lot of different places for employment. As a forensic psychology major, I applied to the FBI, I applied to the CIA because of polygraph examination positions, and I had applied to police stations. And honestly, the wait time from hearing back from those places sometimes 6 months to a year long. And back when I was in college, especially my last year, I was working full time on top of being a full time student. I was a barista at a Cupper's Coffee House. I don't think it's there anymore. I just wish I knew like the how fast it would be for me to actually get a job, and I decided to look other places that weren't just directly in forensic psychology because forensics, there's a lot of abnormality there. So I decided to go with kind of what I knew and decided to try working with children. I think that was the best decision that I've made for myself because if I were at least within myself, if I were working in a jail cell every day, working with inmates, I wouldn't be able to see the progress that I do now every day with these kids. Where like 2 years ago, I see this kid didn't know how to differentiate between hot and cold, or this is dangerous versus this is safe. And now 2 years later, being in this environment, I can actually see like, oh my goodness, this kid is progressing through life and eventually won't ever, not ever, but won't need these services anymore.
Wow. That coming from the frustration of the job searches to now hearing what you're doing and hearing how much you love it and the constant gifts you see from what you do is just amazing. It truly is.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't talk about like if when it comes down to forensic psychology, I wasn't even thinking about therapy as being an option either. It wasn't until my now significant other, we were actually in the same degree program. We met in Riddle, and we're still together now. He told me, "Hey, you should check out applied behavioral analysis and being a registered behavioral technician." And at first I'm like, "Oh, well maybe I can do that." I didn't really think of therapy being an option as employment, but it's so needed. And I don't think a lot of people in the psychology field really think about going towards therapy, especially when we're working on forensics.
Yes, exactly. I think that that's a very big gap in understanding currently, and I mean you nailed it around the head. With that, with your discussion here, what sort of advice would you have for current students at Embry-Riddle, such as myself?
Never think that a question is stupid because at least for me, especially when I was a freshman, I thought that, oh, nobody in this room is gonna have the same question as me. Like this is such a stupid question. You know, if you ask a question, you won't know the answer for it. And that's what a professor is there for you to do. And also just don't be afraid to reach out to other people in your class because you might make your best friend there. A lot of those people that were in my classes, like outside of sorority, outside of any organization or club I was a part of, they're some of my closest friends now. And build those connections because if I didn't know that I would need my professor's help, Professor Dr. Gazika. I still talk to her on occasion and we still keep up. Dr. Irish, I still enjoy talking to her too. And Professor Sequala, he still hits me up on Indeed, seeing how life is. And he's always told me that, you know, if you ever need anything or have like a something you want to discuss and want to like push through to actually be a polygraph examiner, reach out to me. Same with one of my forensic accounting professors. I don't think she works there anymore, but she even said, hey, if you ever need a recommendation, let me know, just because I knew that you were a good student. So being able just to build those relationships with those professors as well still benefit me now, and they still help me to this day if I do end up wanting to change career paths. They're there to support me and help find what is needed or what I need in order for me to still succeed. Because the academic world is so small, but if you have connections, people can build connections on top of you. And then you would be able to be that person that gives that recommendation back. And I've been able to proudly do that when it came down to one of my good friends wanting to become a police officer in Sacramento. Her detective called me not too long ago and asked me questions just about her. And because I knew her, I was able to pay that forward to her.
Wow, that's just powerful. It's great hearing our professors here are paying it forward and well helping you continue on with your career in life. And it's been you said you graduated in 2022, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So almost probably close to getting to 3 years now since you've been graduated here. And that's just awesome.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Like the what at least the arts and sciences department, I've always I feel like because we're a smaller department, we're close, like we're kind of tight knit. We have the smaller classes, but I've always felt like I've been able to speak to my professors, and it's kind of crazy how sometimes like even now I'm like I showed up back at oh what's it called? October West. I showed up and I got to see some of my old professors. And they were, you know, just being able to just joke around with them and like seeing them again as if I was still in class. Like I would love to. I would love to go back to their classes. Even some of the new forensics classes that they're adding, or even some of the psychology classes that they're adding. I'm like, can I sit in on those as an alumni? Because the things that they are continuously being able to teach our the current students is honestly amazing. And I feel like Riddle only gets better ideas for classes as it continues on.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's awesome coming back and seeing all your old teachers, professors, getting a little bit of the nostalgia and I want to come back for a little bit. I that's awesome. That really is. But yeah, thank you, Jillian, for thank you so much for coming back and for the advice. And thank you for joining me on What's the Word?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Owen.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
This podcast is supported by the Department of Humanities and Communication at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Prescott, Arizona. Our hosts are Abigail Bradbury and Owen Smith. Matthew Haslam is the department chair, and I'm Amelia Chesley, assistant professor of professional writing. Many thanks to the Prescott Campus Writing and Design Lab for hosting our transcripts. The intro and outro music is Wanderer by Alex. You can find us where most podcasts are found, and please do reach out if you are a Prescott Campus alum. We'd love to feature you in a future episode.